I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shea. Thanks for joining us here on Texas Live and Local. Of course, you know what time it is. Time to find out if we have trouble brewing in the tropics. And this time the answer is possibly, maybe even in the Gulf. So we've got a lot to talk about. Of course, so far for the Atlantic Basin hurricane season, we've gone through the A name, the B name, and the C name. Andrea, Barry, Chantal. All three of these have become tropical storms, but they did not really have enough time to gather more strength and become a hurricane or a major hurricane. So we've been spared any hurricanes so far for the Atlantic Basin. Thus, into this season, but we are going to have the potential for another system developing over the next 2 to 7 days. And the next name on the list would be Dexter. So could we have a tropical storm Dexter in the Gulf over the next few days? Well, it is a possibility. Right now, we are monitoring the potential for a weak area of low pressure to move into the northeastern Gulf and then the north central Gulf. Timing at this point, it is actually moving from east to west. So it's going to cross over the Florida Peninsula today, and then by tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, likely push into the northeastern Gulf and then keep rolling west, likely moving just south of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Now, intensity, models are kind of keeping this disorganized at this point. So it could become a weak tropical depression or maybe briefly a weak tropical storm towards the end of the work week near the Gulf Coast. So we've got a lot to monitor as we go through the rest of this week. Whether this thing turns into a tropical system officially or not, it's already wreaking havoc across Florida and causing a lot of problems. You can see these heavy storms dumping 1, 2, 3 inches of rain per hour, lining up and down the Florida Peninsula, stretching from Jacksonville to Gainesville to Orlando, Tampa, West Palm Beach, and all the way down to Miami. So we're already getting a lot of rain. Potential for flooding increasing here. It looks like we even have a tornado warning popping up there west of Orlando and north of Tampa. So we've got the threat for severe storms here, heavy downpours that could lead to some flooding. And also we have the chance that this disorganized area of low pressure could turn into a brief tropical system. So you can see all of that heavy rain that we have right now. Area of concern is just off of the east coast of Florida. It's really southeast of Jacksonville, and you can kind of see that swirl taking shape there. That is the disturbance that is going to push across the Florida Peninsula, moving from east to west, and it is going to get closer to H-Town by the end of the week. So this is the area that we're monitoring. You can see Jacksonville, Tampa included in that, all the way over to New Orleans. So here's what's going on right now. We've got an area of low pressure offshore of the east coast of Florida, producing disorganized showers and storms for the moment, but it's going to be rolling into some very warm, steamy waters. In fact, water temps for parts of the Gulf close to 90 degrees. So that's going to give the system fuel. It's going to move into that warm water late Tuesday, stick around Wednesday, Thursday, maybe into Friday, tap into that warm water, and we could briefly have a tropical system. Right now, here's the good news. The chance for that happening is low. Only a 20% chance for the next 2 days, 30%, slightly higher chance over the next 7 days. And you can see Houston not included in that area of concern just yet. However, some of our weather could start to change due to this tropical system being close by. So we could start to see some bigger rain chances towards the end of the work week. But I want to point out just how warm this water is. Just southeast of New Orleans, water temps in the Gulf, northern Gulf more specifically, close to 90 degrees. So water temps mainly in the middle to upper 80s out there, close to 90 in a few spots. So that is going to act as fuel for this potential tropical system. So the all-important Fox weather tropical model, what is it saying? Where is this thing going? Is it going to be trouble for Houston or any part of Texas? Well, let's track it. Notice by Tuesday, as we go through the morning, through the afternoon, evening, into early Wednesday, not really seeing much getting organized, but by Thursday, it looks like the system kind of tries to get its act together a little bit more. So by 6 p.m. Thursday, that center of circulation, whatever it is going to be, is likely going to be just to the south of New Orleans, south of Mobile, somewhere in that area. But notice those downpours, the yellows and reds, getting closer to Houston. So we may not get a direct hit from this system, likely a weak system, maybe a tropical depression or weak tropical storm. But I think by Friday, some of those outer rain bands will start to creep into the area, especially if you live east of Interstate 45. So from Houston to Beaumont to Galveston, Friday, Saturday, I think that will be our biggest impact. Some heavy rain, increased threat for some showers and storms. For today, though, through tomorrow morning, that severe risk from this system is going to mainly be across the Florida Peninsula. You can see for our area, we are not included in the severe storm threat, but the heavy rain risk for Florida will be high. In fact, the 2 out of 4 flash flooding risk for today through tonight, that sticks around for Tuesday, really from Orlando down to Tampa, all the way down to Miami. So if you are traveling in that area, if you have any vacation plans in that area, plan on a lot of rain and the threat for flooding. In fact, I wanted to show you this map. This gives an idea of how much rain you can expect basically for the next 7 days between now and this weekend. And notice anywhere from about 3 to 5 inches of rain showing up from New Orleans back to Mobile, Alabama, Tallahassee, Florida, Tampa, all the way down to Miami. Some 5-inch totals showing up there. So if you have any travel plans anywhere in this area, that is where you're likely going to have some problems. Like I said, even if this doesn't turn into a tropical system, it is still going to dump a lot of rain. So that flash flood risk will be the biggest thing we'll have to worry about. What about Houston for the next week? Well, the model only showing anywhere from about 3/4 of an inch of rain up to maybe 1.5, 2 inches of rain for us through this weekend. So we're going to be on the edge of this system, I think. Of course, if that changes, you will be the first to know. But for now, I don't think it's going to be a direct impact for us. But I do want to show what we could be experiencing. So tropical impacts potentially for H-Town. I think the biggest risk will be heavy rain, and that likely arrives Friday and Saturday, at least from that possible tropical system. So look for more downpours to end the work week and going into the weekend. Medium chance for that. All right, as far as flooding from this possible tropical system, chance right now is low for that isolated street flooding, but the highest risk likely late week, Friday into Saturday. Severe winds. Could we have tropical storm force winds? That would be 39 to 73 miles per hour. Right now, the chance is very low because the models are keeping the center of that system off to our east. So I don't think there's a high chance of that. Now, marine impacts. Well, we have a really high chance for those life-threatening rip currents and increased surf. Right now, the chance is low, but that could be bumped up to a medium chance depending on the strength and track of this, because the system doesn't have to be right over us to get those impacts. So, of course, we're going to keep fine-tuning the forecast. Bottom line, prepare for a possible tropical system in the northern Gulf over the next few days. And, of course, we'll keep you updated if our impacts here in Houston get any worse.